Welcome to another Q&A session for the best club in history, Real Madrid, hosted by Gaëlle. This is a Madridismo.org production.
Okay. Hi everyone. I hope you had a nice Thanksgiving weekend, or if you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, just a nice regular weekend anyway. And basically for Real Madrid fans, it was a pretty good weekend. So today to discuss the derby, Real Madrid v Atlético de Madrid, we have Apakshit and Tanuj. Hi guys.
Hi.
So I don't think I actually need to introduce you anymore, but just in case we had new listeners who didn't know you already, Apakshit is a fellow teammate from Madridismos.org, and Tanuj is the RealMadridFan.com, and he's also part of the Merengue Bites team. So before we start discussing the game, I'd like to maybe take a few seconds, if you don't mind, to remember those who didn't have such a good weekend after all. I guess you've heard the news about Gary Speed. And Tanuj, was he playing in the same Sheffield that you're living in? Is it the same?
He played for a few seasons here at Sheffield for Sheffield United.
Yeah.
And he was currently the Wales manager as well.
Yeah. So given the circumstances, I guess, it must be very hard for his family. So we're sending our hearts out to them. And also, I think it's a good time to remember Antonio Puerta, because it would have been his birthday this weekend. And on a more personal note, I would like to say hi to our teammate Karan. He's having he's having a family issue right now, so we want to say hi and tell him that we're keeping him in our thoughts and prayers, and we hope to have him back very soon. Okay, so now on with the analysis. Real Madrid won 4-1. So I want to say congrats to Carito, because she totally nailed the score ahead of time. And so what was your general feeling about the game, guys?
Let me start off by saying, even though it was a great win, what has happened after the game with Gary Speeds' death, it just is difficult to comprehend football in right now.
Okay.
But if I have to, which is very difficult for me right now, I would say it was a good win, not a perfectly great win. I would say first half we were not that influential. Second half was much better comparatively.
Okay. Going back to Gary Speed, did you know that he was feeling that bad?
No, it's strange because he was recording for Football Focus on the same a few hours before he allegedly committed suicide.
Yeah.
So he was happy, and I've read some accounts of people who worked with him on the same day, and they're saying he was completely fine. He was happy. He was joking. It's difficult to comprehend what somebody's got in the back of his mind, even despite the laughs and the smiles.
Yeah, well, it hits home, because I've had two in my family like that, and I don't think you can really put yourself in their shoes. There's something, it's just, I don't know, you cannot understand, you cannot judge, and just for those who are left, the family and the loved ones who are left with all the pain, it's also, I think it's terrible, but yeah. Apakshit, you want to say something?
Yes, well, I would just like to start saying a few words about Gary Speed. What an absolute legend he was. 500 plus games he played in the Premier League. He played for Leeds United, played for Bolton, and he was also the manager of the Welsh national team.
Yeah.
And yeah, Wales started doing so well. They won 4 of their last 5 games. And Robbie Savage, who spoke to him just before his death, he was saying that speed was absolutely normal. He was joking. So I mean, I was really, really sad, and shook uh, to actually hear about his death.
Yeah.
And coming back to the game, I thought we played really well, but the goal that we conceded was a cheap one. Our marking was really poor. Sergio Ramos actually put his hands up, looking at the linesman, but the linesman, uh, the player who actually scored wasn't actually offside.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, our marking was really poor, and we should not have conceded the first goal.
Okay, Apakshit, we're kind of losing the sound on you, so if you can make sure to speak up a little more, just to make sure we hear
Sure.
everything. Okay.
Yes,
Okay,
certainly.
thanks. Okay, so the first topic I wanted to discuss was Las playing again as a right back. So I was wondering, a general wondering was, if you see if he plays better or if it doesn't matter when he's partnered with somebody like Varane or with Pepe or even with other people in the midfield. Is there a certain ease that he has with certain players, or it doesn't matter at all, and it shouldn't matter anyway? That was one thing I was wondering. And the other thing, what you thought about his performance yesterday.
Well, I'm not sure about the partnership, but then I have consistently said that Lars Diarra is a wonderful player. When it comes
Yeah.
to defending, when it comes to ball winning and defending, he's probably one of the best, and he proved it again. His defending was really, really world class, I would say, and he didn't lose the ball, and he just kept clearing the ball when the ball was in the danger zone. So I'm not quite sure about the partnership, but then when it comes to defending, he's probably one of the best.
Okay, over Arbeloa?
Sorry?
Do you think he's one of the best, better than Arbeloa, or you can compare, or I don't know?
Well, I would say it's not fair to compare the two, but then
Okay.
both the players have their qualities. But then Lars Diarra, when it comes to winning the ball, he's really, really, really good at it.
Okay. Tanuj?
I would say Arbeloa is probably the number one when it comes to right back position.
Okay.
Last is the second option, mostly because Arbeloa is more consistent, while Last has his moments of madness, if I will. So Arbeloa, even though he has his ups and downs as well, Last has been playing good as a backup option with Arbeloa being injured of late.
Okay. So you don't think there's maybe, for instance, a particular opponent or particular game configuration when one is maybe better than the other? You think they're just as good, or Arbeloa number one and Last number two?
Uh, at this level, I don't think there is any weak team, if I will, because all of them, all of the teams all play in the La Liga, which is the top division. So every side has to be treated equal. Every side has to be considered strong enough to beat us. Uh, He beat us at home last season, so we cannot be complacent and we cannot say this is a weak team and we can play one player over the other.
Okay.
But having said that, I think Arbeloa is more level-headed than Lars is. So he's probably a better choice when it comes to games of higher stature, such as the Clasico.
Okay. Apakshit, you want to defend Last?
Well, not really, because the Last has his moments of madness, as my friend Tanuj pointed out. So yeah, when defending, you need to be calm. You need to be composed, and in big games, uh, if you give away free kicks in dangerous positions, then you can actually concede goals. So yeah, when it comes to keeping a composure, I think Last is not good at it. He makes some really, really dangerous challenges, and he's quite vulnerable. In that sense.
Okay. Okay. Well, I think it's kind of related, talking about keeping your composure. Let's talk about Di Maria. He was back from injury on Saturday. And so I think there was a lot of plus and a little bit of minus, right, about his comeback. Like on the plus side, he's the one who enabled Benzema on the action that got us the first penalty. He scored the second goal. And on the minus side, unfortunately, he seemed to give in to theatrics again a little. Pamela, that you know, I guess, from Paseo La Castellana, was tweeting about it. She was saying something that was hilarious, I found. She said, Di Maria needs to stop flopping around like a fish. And I know, Tanuj, you were tweeting about that also. So I think the action that I most remember was one of the first where I think it's Perea, but I'm not sure who, makes a foul, and Di Maria gets up, like he's okay, and he falls back right on the ground again. And things ended up heating up between Pepe and Perea, and Diego was booked after that. So it was like, I thought, oh, maybe somebody's gonna be, sent out. So it was a little dangerous, and I was a bit disappointed. But yeah, so overall, a balance of the pros and cons of Di Maria on Saturday.
Good. Let me start off by the pros first.
Yeah.
He scored a great goal. He played with much aggression. He played with attacking finesse that he has, and he created chances for others. He created chances for himself as well. Sorry, and let me get to the cons, which were mostly highlighted more of the cons rather than the pros. His play acting, his theatrics, it's not new. Firstly, it's reignited to over the weekend, and it's embarrassing. It really is embarrassing. I don't know how it's not embarrassing for him, but for a fan to defend him, it's really difficult.
Okay.
Unless you turn a blind eye to it, but otherwise it's really difficult and embarrassing.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I would just like to say that Di Maria is a very, very talented player, and when talented players do that, it's really, really disappointing, for the fans to watch that,
Yeah.
And trying to get a fellow professional booked is, I mean, you just cannot justify it, it's silly, it's really, really silly of him to do that. And he doesn't do it once, he doesn't do it twice, he just does that over and over again, And he was lucky actually not to be booked for simulation. The referee should have booked him for simulation.
Yeah.
And yeah, when it comes to his performance, I thought he was really good. He scored a second goal, and Ronaldo's pass to him was really good.
Oh yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah, Ronaldo's pass was really, really good, and he's really, really talented. But then again, he doesn't need to do that. He doesn't need to dive and try and get his fellow professionals booked.
I was wondering if you thought that can influence the referee also. Like when he sees Di Maria on the ground, he's just pretending, so he didn't get anything. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah. Yes, it does. It does. Yes, it does. I'm remembering the game which Barcelona played against Getafe. Sergio Busquets. Yeah, Sergio Busquets is. He also does something similar. He goes down far too cheaply, and Busquets was doing it again and again in the match against Getafe. And the referee he just wasn't even looking at him. So your reputation goes by you. It only goes to show that your reputation is going to be with you. And when it's a contact in the box also, the referee is not going to give a penalty because your reputation is there with you.
Okay. Yeah. Tanuj?
Yeah, I agree that the reputation tends to build on and continue with you, unless and until Di Maria gets his act right. I really don't understand what is the need of rolling around and flapping, just as Pamela mentioned. I just don't understand what is the need of it. It's probably that the game has become the way that it is, that a player has to dive around and feign injury just to get another player booked.
Yeah.
It's despicable, but probably that's what the game has become now.
Yeah, I don't get it though, because why would you stand up and then fall down again? You know, if you're gonna do that, stay on the floor in the first place. Don't, stand up and I know it's so obvious. Everybody's gonna see that.
It's absolute tomfoolery, I would just like to say, and it makes the job of the referees even more difficult. The referees these days, they get so much flack these days, because the game has become very, very difficult, for the referees to actually go out there and actually perform.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes the job of the referees even more difficult, And I'm also reminded of the fact that a referee in Germany tried to take his life away, but then he was saved somehow. Maybe those were personal problems, but then again, when a player is so much, when a player has so much talent, why does he do it? I just fail to understand.
Yeah. Well, I hope that he's gonna get his act together and keep playing great, because at least on the plus side, he did deliver so well on Saturday. So we definitely need him, but we don't need the extra acting job. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's move on. Let's not focus on the. Oh yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Go ahead.
Acting job could actually be a movie featuring Di Maria.
I'm sorry. Well, yeah. Okay. I get it. Okay, so yeah, as I was saying, let's not focus on the negative, and keep moving. Well, let's focus on the negative a little bit more, but on Atleti's goal, you say it was poor marking on our part. What happened exactly?
Well, yeah, please.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I thought it was Marcelo's mistake because we don't man mark players, we mark zones. So it came from the left hand side, and Sergio Ramos was actually looking at the linesman.
Yeah.
But then there was no flag, and he just left the striker free, and he scored, Adrian. He just scored.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I agree. Marcelo wasn't close enough or marking the player properly to leave him free to have play the little 1-2 with Adrian, and he scored really well over Casillas. I think that was the only opportunity for Casillas in the whole game, if I'm not wrong. And there was I think Ramos was looking at the referee, at the linesman, because there was a hint of offside there, as there was a player in between, and there possibly he touched the ball onto the Atletico player, but I think it was a good call and it wasn't offside, so it was a good goal in my opinion.
Okay.
I would just like to add something.
Yes,
Casillas,
sure.
Yeah, Casillas also is to be blamed here. The goalkeeper should never get beaten on their near post, but then Casillas was actually beaten on his near post. So I thought it was a bad mistake.
I don't think he was beaten at the near post. Adrian scored on the right corner from the left side of things.
I thought it was the near post.
No.
Well, we'll have to check that again. Okay. Yeah, I will definitely go check that, see what happened. But okay, so but basically, poor marking from Marcelo.
Yeah.
Okay. Another thing that was really that caught my attention was that, you know, our ball possession was consistently good, was growing. At the end of the game, it was 73%. It started at 51. So we had also the numeric advantage early in the game, and yet aside from a penalty, we were not able to score. So in the first half, I mean. So I was wondering, you know, what we were lacking in the first half, if it was something that Atleti was doing particularly well, or something that we were lacking, or if it was just bad luck.
It was, I would say, even though they were down to 10 men, Atletico defended well. We kept the ball really well, but Atletico had a solid back line. So I wouldn't say it was lack of creativity, but more on the opponents' good play in the first half.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say that we were not lucky. We did create chances, but I thought that they defended really well, you know. And we need to make the most of our chances, you know. Whenever we get chances, we need to finish, which I think we did do. But in the first half, I thought they defended really well.
Okay. Okay, Chris Vikinga 1988 decía was saying on Twitter at halftime that she wanted Granero, Higuain, and Benzema. Not Benzema. What did I write that? Who was she saying? Granero, Higuain, and somebody else on the pitch. Benzema was already on the pitch, so she wouldn't be saying that. Got that wrong. But anyway, she got Higuain right. And I was therefore wondering what you thought of Mourinho's substitutions, if they were particularly good, or if it was. I mean, I guess what I'm asking is if it was the substitutions that unlocked the game somehow, or if it was just that finally the hard work was paying off.
Well, I thought that the substitutions were really good, but I would still say that that it was a collective effort. You know, Higuain coming on, he scored the third goal, and he played a major part in the fourth goal. Fourth goal, I mean. So replacing him with Di Maria was a smart move. You know, because Di Maria, he just runs his heart out. You know, so after 65, 70 minutes, you know, he doesn't perform to the level at which the fans would actually want him to perform. So I thought substitution was really good. Higuain for Benzema was really good, and Higuain did a really good job.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the substitutions were good, but they were pretty obvious. Come to think of it, Higuain came on for Di Maria, which was pretty expected, I think, because Di Maria was coming back from an injury.
Yeah.
And Higuain made the most of the Atletico Madrid's defensive lapse, or just I don't know, I forgot the word. Sorry about that. About the defensive lapse, and made the most of it by coming on and scoring in the first 2 minutes, I think. So.
Okay.
It was a team effort, not just down to the substitutions, I think.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I think I got Chris Vikinga's tweet right now. I think she was saying Granero, Higuain, and Callejon should join the pitch, and she got Higuain and Callejon right. And you, Tanuj, you wanted Granero or Sahin instead of Cristiano. Why was that?
Mostly because Cristiano looked to be injured on 2 occasions.
Okay.
He was limping on 2 instances. So with the Clásico in 2 weeks and next week, it would have been possibly, and the game already looking comfortably safe. I think Cristiano should have been taken off as well.
Okay, so it was more like a safety measure. It wasn't so much because you thought he wasn't playing well.
No. It was more of a safety measure that rather than a technical problem.
Okay. Apakshit, I mean, you want to add something else?
Yeah, well, I thought the same. Ronaldo was limping. He had some a problem with his leg.
Yeah.
So and there were some nasty challenges also on him. So that I think did a little bit of damage.
Okay.
So I think Ronaldo should have been taken off, considering the fact that we are going to play our biggest rivals in Barcelona.
Okay. Okay. Well, yeah, we can move on to the intensity of the game. I was thinking during the whole game, I was thinking Apakshit must be super agitated and very unhappy with what's going on because I thought Atleti's players were really I don't know if they were playing hard or if they were just going too strong and it wasn't even fair anymore. But the thing is that's weird is that when you look at the referee's decisions, he sent out 2 men from Atleti. He gave them like plenty of yellow cards. He gave us 2 penalties for what they did. So I don't think we can say that he was being particularly forgiving, but it's still the impression I have after all that they could have ended up with, I don't know, 8 men or more yellow cards or whatever. I mean, it was pretty hard.
Very true, very true. I thought they were not playing football. They were playing some other sport, and the referee for some reason kept the cards to his pocket, which you can actually defend because he sent off 2 players and there were numerous bookings. So the referee sometimes what happens is they refrain from booking too many players, because then the people start criticizing them, for actually showing too many cards. But then I thought the referee should have shown more red cards, and only 2 players were sent off, which I thought should have been more.
What do you mean only 2 players were sent off? How many more do you want?
No, I mean to say those 2 were clear red cards, those 2. But then again, there were so many nasty tackles, and I thought at least 4 players should have been sent off.
But wait, because if how many players can be sent off before a game is just plain cancelled?
4
I
players.
think it is.
I'm sorry?
I think it is
4 players.
Yeah.
4 players, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, once 4 players are sent off, then we would have won 2-0,
So 4 players on the same team though, right?
Yeah, same team.
Okay.
Same team. If they are sent off, then the team wins 2-0,
Okay.
I disagree on one point that you mentioned. I think the first red card wasn't fair to Courtois. I think it would have been a yellow card that would have sufficed, and a penalty, of course. He was in his box. Yeah, he charged, but he wasn't the last man or didn't stop the goal scoring opportunity completely because there were defenders getting back. So a yellow card would have been enough in my opinion.
Well, I would beg to differ on that. He was the last man, and you should see the position of the defenders. Once Benzema would have beaten him, he would have been clear on goal. So that was a clear goal scoring chance, which the goalkeeper actually tried to block. So I thought that was a clear red card.
Obviously, he was last on goal because he's the goalkeeper. So defenders would more often than not be in front of him. So
Yeah, true.
so it's a given that defenders would be in a bad position when getting back. If Benzema is rounding off the goalkeeper and straight ahead to the goal. But having said that, a yellow card and a penalty and it's a derby as well, would have been the right decision, in my opinion, of course.
Okay, well, that I have a question then. I asked Javi about it, and he answered a little bit. And now that I was listening to you guys, I had a little bit more information to understand. But I will still ask the question because I think it's interesting. Most of the time, when there's a penalty, maybe there's a yellow card, but it's not necessarily a red card. That's what surprised me both times. So is it that what we were saying, when it's the last man, then you get a red card, but if not, you get a yellow card? Because I don't understand. I'm thinking a penalty is enough punishment already. Why give a red card on top of it?
Well, the rules clearly suggest that when a player tries to stop a clear goal scoring chance, it should be a red card and and a penalty, considering the fact that the foul is actually committed in the box. So the rules clearly say that when a player actually tries to stop a clear goal scoring chance, it should be a red and a penalty. So that's what the rules say.
It differs when who is probably pulling you back or is the last man. If it's the goalkeeper, it's obviously, and he's inside the box, then it's a penalty, and in my opinion, most should be a yellow card rather than a red card. But if it's a defender, then and he's the last man and prevents somebody from going on and scoring or having a goal scoring opportunity, then it's a red card. So it depends what position the player is in and who the player is. It differs whether it's a goalkeeper, differs when it's a defender, and whether it's in the box or outside the box.
Okay.
So it's obviously up to the referee's decision of how it should be.
Okay. Apakshit, you want to add something else?
Yeah, well, it depends. It depends on the referee, and his perception,
Okay. All right, so that's clear now. Thanks. I wanted to talk a bit more on sportsmanship, but from the point of view of the fans now, because I don't know if you've seen this sign that Ultrasur was showing. Did you see it?
Yep.
Yes, I did.
Okay. So they were saying basically that we're looking for a worthwhile rival for a decent derby. And there was David on Twitter. Twitter name is Nuber85. He was saying, "Oh, you're gonna see, all the Q&As, all the radio shows and TV shows. They're gonna talk about it, and they're gonna be like, Real Madrid shouldn't do that, shouldn't allow that. It's not good sportsmanship qualities and everything." And he kind of disagreed. He said that, it was all good fun. So I was wondering, I don't like free provocation, and but I don't know if it was just, just humor, basically, or if you thought it was out of line. Guys?
Yeah.
Tanuj, you want to answer that first?
Let me go first.
Yeah, sure.
I think it's all in good fun. It was
Okay.
a brilliant banner in my opinion. And it's all in good fun. It's a derby. You've won since 1999, and it's all in a good fun, and it was really cheeky, I would admit, but I don't think it's arrogant of the fans. I mean, when United won the Premier League last season, there was some fans who had a sign at Anfield saying Manchester United 19, Liverpool 18, or something along those lines. So people found that to be out of line. Some found it to be out of line. Some found it to be really courageous. So it depends what everybody's perspective is, but in my opinion, it was all in good fun.
Okay.
Well, I thought that the fans were being disrespectful, and such banners should be banned from the
I
stadium.
was sure you would say that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, such provocative banners can actually lead to vandalism. If the players, if the fans lose their head and they start fighting, it can cause a lot of trouble. So such provocative banners should be banned. And I was really surprised that fans could actually sneak the banner. And nobody stopped them from doing it. You
But
know.
I think it was like A4 sheets, or no, maybe not A4, but like bigger. Like it was piece by piece, so you can have that in one has it in his pocket and the other one in his bag, and nobody sees it, right? I think that's how it was.
It's
Yeah.
actually it's not that difficult when you're with the Ultrasur. They are they're the most influential groups when it comes to a club, and I don't think it's that difficult when it comes to going past the security and taking it in there. And it wasn't a banner because somebody on Twitter mentioned it wasn't a banner but a mosaic.
Yes,
So
exactly. Yeah.
so I have no idea how it's gotten inside, but I don't think it will be very difficult for Ultrasur to get it inside.
But let me tell you, I mean, I'm not saying the security at the stadium is not good, because they do check you out and everything, but it's a little bit inconsistent. Like sometimes they check my purse and my bag, and if I have something that like, oh no, you cannot get in with your juice box, you have to open it and drink it or whatever, or throw it away. And sometimes they just see you, and I don't know, maybe they like your face and just, yeah, that's okay. They don't look at anything. So it's I don't know, yeah, it's not. I think I think I read something about that in the UK maybe there was more security than in Spain at the stadium. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I was having a discussion with another.
It was you. Okay.
Yeah, I was having a discussion with another journalist, and I've seen with the amount of flares and lasers that are used in Spain and Italy, I think England is much safer. And he happened to mention that groups like Ultrasur or groups of fans in South America, they have a lot of power. They just can do things without much of a problem. That's how influential they have been throughout the years and continue to be. But police in England have done a fairly good job, I would say, of cutting down on hooligan groups.
Yeah.
So it's difficult if you're trying to sneak past objects if you're in England.
Okay. Okay, so I guess like on this one, Tanuj, you're saying it was all in good fun, and Apakshit is saying, no, this is not acceptable. I was sure that would happen, so so yeah, I'm not a big fan of provocation myself, so.
Okay.
But again, I'm thinking maybe when we go to their stadium, maybe they're gonna have some kind of sign in response. So we'll see.
Provided they beat us, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's say that would not happen. That would not happen.
No. Okay, so now I wanted to talk about maybe the month of December. So unless you have something else to say about the game in particular, then we can move to the new topic, the month of December.
Nope. We can
Nope,
move on, I
you're
think.
good?
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
Go on.
Okay, so it's gonna be pretty busy because there's the trip to Amsterdam, and then there's the Clásico, and then there's Copa del Rey starting. So I was wondering if you thought that given the Ajax game will have no consequences whatsoever on the Champions League, do you think that some players will actually not take the trip and they will stay in Madrid, the key players, in view of the Clásico, or you think they will all go and play normally?
I think it would be the.
Yeah,
Go
please
ahead,
go
sorry.
ahead. Tanuj, please go ahead. You go ahead, please.
Uh, I think it would be the same way we had against Zagreb. Resting a few, making a few starting 11 or the first 11 play the first half. The same idea, I think, will be repeated against Ajax.
Okay.
And uh, I think we will play with with the regular 11,
Yeah.
with the regular squad, because with the lead now to 6, we need to maintain it and probably and hopefully take it to 9 points. I'm hoping Rayo Vallecano beat Barcelona as well.
They're
Uh,
neighbors too. Let's see if our neighbors are helping us. Keep
yeah,
helping us.
Getafe helped.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
hoping Vallecano do as well. So, if we can take it to, if we can go into the Clasico with 6 points or 9 points, or God forbid 3 points, um, it would be a good plan, I think.
Of course.
Yeah, well, it's quite difficult to predict, it's quite difficult to say, but then I think our main players should not travel, because traveling all the way, would be difficult and would tire the players, So I think our main players shouldn't travel, and probably our French players can travel and play the game, considering the fact that we have won the group already, And the next game against Sporting Lyon, all our main players should start, and we should make the lead 9 points. Now it's 6. We win that game. It's going to be 9.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's not up to us though, right? The 9 points, it's up to Rayo Vallecano, really.
That's
Yeah,
right.
because Barcelona
Barcelona
play on
on
Tuesday. Yeah.
True. Yeah.
So we will know whether it's whether it's down to 3 points or 9 points, or if it's a draw or something else.
Yeah, we
I
were
hope it's
talking
9.
with. Oh, I'm sorry, Apakshit, go ahead.
Yeah, I hope it's 9. I hope it's 9.
Yeah, of course. Who doesn't hope for that? We were talking earlier with Apakshit on the chat that Barcelona was having their game on Tuesday. They were already tired, and so basically the calendar was a bit in our favor. So, how do you think that will affect their form going into the Clásico? I guess it probably won't change anything because going to the Clásico, they're gonna be like super pumped up anyway. So
Yeah, it's been Barcelona had a difficult set of games. They had to play Milan with a full strength squad, and their over reliance. I just It's difficult now for them more now because they lost to Getafe, so the pressure is on them, and the fixtures really don't help.
okay.
Yeah, true. The pressure is on Barcelona now. They're 6 points off the pace, and I think the players against Getafe, they just did not look hungry, because whenever I watch a Barcelona game, all the players they look really hungry, But then they did not look so. Maybe because they were really tired, because the match against Milan really drained them, They won 3-2, but it really drained them, But when it comes to facing Real Madrid, I think they'll be back to their best, because it's probably the biggest game for them thus far. So they're going to be back, and let's just see what happens.
Okay. Do you have any idea, hypothesis on the type of formation that both teams will use in the Clásico? I mean.
No, I wouldn't be sure of it, But then one thing is for sure, I think the tables have turned this time around, and I think Real Madrid is surely going to win this one.
Oh, okay.
Mind you, it's even though the pressure is on them to put the tables even, it's also difficult. It's also a pressure situation for us to maintain the lead that we have right now. Because I think last year we had a decent lead. I think by decent I mean 3 points, 3 points or 2 points, something to that effect, and we let go of that. So we can't let go of this 6 point lead. And now I think,
Okay.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. We just have to keep on winning. We
yeah.
just have to keep on winning.
Okay, so we'll see what happens then. Okay, man of the match, in your opinion?
I would say it would be Cristiano Ronaldo.
Okay. Tanuj?
It's a tough one because I didn't find anybody to be overly consistent throughout the game. But if it has to be, I would go with Cristiano as well because of the chances he created for himself and for others, with obviously Di Maria's goal as the assist.
Okay. Yeah, I was
Yeah, that was
hesitating with Higuain also, but
yeah. The Di Maria's goal was probably the pick of the lot, because the way Ronaldo goes past defenders and passes it to him, and the way Di Maria finished it off. So that was the pick of the goals for me.
okay. Okay, so now I would like to move on to another topic that has nothing to do with the game, but I thought that it would be nice to maybe get to know each other's countries better, since we're also international, and since you guys are both from India, I thought you could enlighten us a bit about your country and football in your country, because there are a lot of cliches about India, and I don't know if they're true or if they're true only in some regions or if it's totally wrong. So what can you tell us about, for instance, the fact that some areas don't have light, and the fact that it's a very poor country, and the fact also that it doesn't have enough or good enough football installations to even dream of having a strong spot on the international scene as far as football is concerned. Like, what can you tell us about your country and about the cliches that go around about it?
Yeah.
Yeah, please go ahead. I'm running.
Sorry. It's as with any country, I think there are cliches associated with them. India also has a set of them, and sometimes they're true, sometimes they're not, and sometimes when they are true, they're usually exaggerated.
Okay.
And as for let me just go one by one with your question.
Yes.
Some areas not having electricity, probably true. I've not been to all the parts of the country, and so mostly not even the interior parts of it, where the situation is more difficult than it is in the major cities. So they have electricity there, but not as easily available as it is in major cities. Even major cities such as Delhi have electricity problems with a few power outages, which is unheard of in first world countries.
Okay.
So it happens, but the situation isn't as bleak, I think, as it is made out to be.
Okay.
So further, if I go, what else besides the electricity? There are some people who go without 2 meals a day. So the situation, as it's a third world country, let's be honest about it.
Okay.
So situation is difficult, and with the economy the way it is, um, it's not helped further with funds not being enough, with the population being so high.
Okay.
And so that's pretty much it. And when it comes to football, it's not I mean, I'm talking about Indian football here,
Yeah, yeah.
and it's not developed. It's still second fiddle, I think, to cricket. I think second, and it's a long way away from getting to a good, decent level of even matching the heights of countries such as Japan or South Korea or China's development. So it's still a long way to go.
Okay.
Well, I think that we are struggling, when we talk about football, we are really struggling, but there are positives, players like Sunil Chetri and JJ, they are currently having trials at Rangers, so which is a really big thing, which is a very, very big thing for us. And I remember Sunil Chetri saying once that Sunil Chetri, by the way, is the most popular footballer here,
Okay.
And he was once saying that he has no grounds to practice on, So he plays for the national team, And when he has no grounds to practice on, think about the budding footballer.
That's
Obviously,
amazing.
yeah. So the budding footballers, obviously, they do not have access to proper grounds, which is not going to help them. So we are a population of 1.2 billion people, and I'm quite sure that we can produce 20, 25 world-class footballers. But the government has to pump in money, Without the money, I don't think it's going to be possible. We need stadiums. We need coaches who can come from foreign countries and who can work on our players, make them better, So we have a long way to go, but there are positives, I hope Sunil Chetri and JJ both get contracts at Rangers, that will be a really, really big move for us,
Okay. Well, thanks a lot, guys. That was really interesting. I was
Come to
writing everything down because I was like happy to, find out from you, from people who actually know what India is and how it is to live there. Actually.
I would just like to, add that Sunil Chetri, he signed for QPR. QPR, they are playing in the Premier League now. He signed for them 2 years back, but he did not get his work permit and his visa. He also played for Kansas City Wizards, which is in the USA.
Okay.
He did not play for them actually, but then he signed for them, and something went wrong, and he did not get a chance to play for them. So Sunil Chetri is surely going to move abroad and play in a better league.
Okay. Okay. So
in
there's
fact,
hope.
in fact, Baichuk Bhutia was the first Indian to get to play in a country outside India. He played for Berry FC, which are currently in the conference, if I'm not wrong. And so he started off, and besides him, there are as Apakshit mentioned, Sunil Chetri and JJ, who are currently on trial with the Rangers. Besides them, there is Subrata Bose, who was named to be in trials with a club in Australia, but that didn't materialize. And it's still a long way to go. It's really difficult for an Indian player to be picked, but if they do, it's. I was reading an article on a few minutes back saying if Rangers do sign Sunil Chetri, they would strike gold, because there are a lot of Indian football fans who follow European football.
Yeah.
So if Rangers do manage to sign him, if they do sign him, not do manage, but do sign him, then their following in India would increase, because I think SPL is broadcasted in India now. So it will be brilliant for the Scottish Premier League. It will be brilliant for Indian football as well, but not something to be overly and excited about in the long run of things, I think, because one player brings in the money, but does it help the whole the country as a whole? I don't think so.
Tanuj, did you say Subrato Bose? He's Subrato Paul, by the way.
Yeah, I said Subrata Pal, I think.
Okay.
Okay. Unless I meant Subrata Bose, who is, I don't know who, but he is a celebrity as well somewhere.
I'm
No,
gonna need you guys
Rahul
to.
Bose. That's Rahul Bose.
Okay, maybe I just mixed up.
I'm gonna need you
Okay.
guys to send me the names in written because I'm not gonna be able to write that correctly otherwise.
Sure.
So,
I'll certainly do it.
okay, thank you. Okay, so well, that was very interesting. Anything else you want to say, or that's it? That's it.
That's it,
Huh?
I guess.
Okay. Well, that was really, really great. Thank you guys for sharing with us all that information about your country and football in your country. I hope that the listeners will have enjoyed that too, getting to know India. And well, I think that's it for this Q&A. So thank you so much, guys. And thank you to our listeners for listening. And well, we'll see you around at the next Q&A, I guess. Have a good afternoon, Tanuj, and night, Apakshit.
Nice.
And thanks a lot for your participation as usual. Bye.
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 This was a Madridismo.org production.
It's strange because he was recording for Football Focus on the same a few hours before he allegedly committed suicide.
Yeah.
So he was happy, and I've read some accounts of people who worked with him on the same day, and they're saying he was completely fine. He was happy. He was joking. It's difficult to comprehend what somebody's got in the back of his mind, even despite the laughs and the smiles.
Yeah, well, it hits home because I've had two in my family like that, and yeah, I don't think you can really put yourself in their shoes. There's something. It's just, I don't know. You cannot understand. You cannot judge, and just for those who are left, the family and the loved ones who are left with all the pain, it's also, I think it's terrible. But yeah. Apakshit, you want to say something?
Yes, well, I would just like to start saying a few words about Gary Speed. What an absolute legend he was. 500 plus games he played in the Premier League. He played for Leeds United, played for Bolton, and he was also the manager of the Welsh national team.
Yeah.
And yeah, Wales started doing so well. They won 4 of their last 5 games. And Robbie Savage, who spoke to him just before his death, he was saying that Speed was absolutely normal, that he was joking. So, I mean, I was really, really sad, and shook the danger zone. So I'm not quite sure about the partnership, but then when it comes to defending, he's probably one of the best.
Okay, over Arbeloa?
Sorry?
Do you think he's one of the best, better than Arbeloa, or you can compare, or I don't know?
Well, I would say it's not fair to compare the two, but then
Okay.
both the players have their qualities, But then Last Diarra, when it comes to winning the ball, he's really, really, really good at it,
Okay. Tanuj?
I would say Arbeloa is probably the number one when it comes to right back position.
Okay.
Las is the second option, mostly because Arbeloa is more consistent, while Las has his moments of madness, if I will. So Arbeloa, even though he has his ups and downs as well, Las has been playing good as a backup option with Arbeloa being injured of late.
Okay. So you don't think there's maybe for instance, a particular opponent or particular game configuration when one is maybe better than the other? You think they're just as good, or Arbeloa number one and Las number two?
At this level, I don't think there is any any weak team, if I will, because all of them.
I guess must be very hard for his family, so we're sending our hearts out to them. And also, I think it's a good time to remember Antonio Puerta, because it would have been his birthday this weekend. And on a more personal note, I would like to say hi to our teammate Karan. He's having he's having a family issue right now, so we want to say hi and tell him that we're keeping him in our thoughts and prayers, and we hope to have him back very soon. Okay, so now on with the analysis. Real Madrid won 4-1. So I want to say congrats to Carito, because she totally nailed the score ahead of time. And so what was your general feeling about the game, guys?
Let me start off by saying, even though it was a great win, what has happened after the game with Gary Speeds' death, it just is difficult to comprehend footballing right now.
Okay.
But if I have to, which is very difficult for me right now, I would say it was a good win, not a perfectly great win. I would say first half we were not that influential. Second half was much better comparatively.
Okay. Going back to Gary Speed, did you know that he was like feeling that bad?
No.
Welcome to another Q&A session for the best club in history, Real Madrid, hosted by Gaëlle. This is a Madridismo.org production.
Okay. Hi everyone. I hope you had a nice Thanksgiving weekend, or if you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, just a nice regular weekend anyway. And basically for Real Madrid fans, it was a pretty good weekend. So today, to discuss the derby, Real Madrid v Atlético de Madrid, we have Apakshit and Tanuj. Hi guys.
Hi.
So I don't think I actually need to introduce you anymore, but just in case we had new listeners who didn't know you already, Apakshit is a fellow teammate from Madridismos.org, and Tanuj is the RealMadridFan.com, and he's also part of the Merengue Bites team. So before we start discussing the game, I'd like to maybe take a few seconds, if you don't mind, to remember those who didn't have such a good weekend after all. I guess you've heard the news about Gary Speed. And Tanuj, was he playing in the same Sheffield that you're living in? Is it the same?
He played for a few seasons here at Sheffield, for Sheffield United.
Yeah.
And he was currently the Wales manager as well.
Yeah. So, given the circumstances,
to actually hear about his death,
Yeah.
And coming back to the game, I thought we played really well, but the goal that we conceded was a cheap one. Our marking was really poor. Sergio Ramos actually put his hands up looking at the linesman, but the linesman, the player who actually scored wasn't actually offside.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, our marking was really poor, and we should not have conceded the first goal.
Okay, Apakshit, we're kind of losing the sound on you, so if you can make sure to speak up a little more, just to make sure we hear everything. Okay.
Yes,
Okay, thanks. Okay, so the first topic I wanted to discuss was Las playing again as a right back. So I was wondering, a general wondering was, if you see, if he plays better or if it doesn't matter when he's partnered with somebody like Varane or with Pepe or even with other people in the midfield, is there a certain ease that he has with certain players, or it doesn't matter at all, and it shouldn't matter anyway? That was one thing I was wondering. And the other thing, what you thought about his performance yesterday.
Well, I'm not sure about the partnership, but then I have consistently said that Last Diarra is a wonderful player. When it comes
Yeah.
to defending, when it comes to ball winning and defending, he's probably one of the best, and he proved it again. His defending was really world class, I would say, and he didn't lose the ball, and he just kept clearing the ball when the ball was in